Adam Taxon reporting, I guess that's the word, from the Jersey Shore. Summer, beautiful day, but I'm here because I care so much about you all and fixing the message and getting our message refined. Yeah, it's a hotel room where I stay. Very good deal, so I'm not going to tell you where it is because I want that really good deal to continue. One pet peeve of mine, I've talked to Debbie Schlussel about this, for example, and she agrees. I really hate conservative clickbait. I do have a couple friends on the left side, and they say it's just as bad among Democrats, but I really hate conservative clickbait, whether it comes on Facebook and links you to articles from purported conservative sources that that really tell you nothing in the article, but have a lot of ads on there, and it's you're getting paid per click. I really find that a pet peeve. Obviously, I don't spend any time on leftist crap, so it's not a problem there, but it probably applies. But let's look at an example I just got. So a few minutes ago, I received this piece in which Hillary, spelled wrong, Jew, not capitalized, Hillary's Jew hatred, actually there should be a hyphen between Jew and hatred, comes out, which immediately has me skeptical. I know about her kissing Mrs. Arafat. What a beard, by the way, Mrs. Arafat was. We know about what Yasser was really into. I just think she's probably a little more circumspect on the campaign trail, but we'll see. I know what her real feelings are, but that doesn't mean she's going to say them, especially when she's been so reluctant to be in the public eye. That's her strategy. So I see this headline from, by the way, a generally trusted source of mine on Facebook, one of the few people I put in close friends because I like what he posts. It says Hillary Clinton attacks Israel. Says they're conquerors. By the way, it should be says it is a conqueror. I mean, the plural singular thing, but that's not in quotes. Who denied dignity, in quotes. So she clearly said denied dignity. And it says, when it comes to foreign policy, it seems that neither Barack Obama nor Hillary Clinton have a clue. It should be has a clue, jewsnews.co.il. Okay, maybe you're Israeli, but whatever. That's basic English. What they're talking about. And also, of course, if Barack knows what he's talking about but is playing for the other team, that wouldn't apply. So you can see what I posted back after I did a little research, which we'll get to. Read the article at the link to a link. This is lame clickbait. And I hope you know the word clickbait. If not, Google it. I'm not even going to explain it right now, but it's things that try to entice you with misleading headlines, really misleading headlines. It's generally you're paid every time you click a fraction of a cent, a tiny fraction of a cent. So they don't care. There's no journalism in there. I mean, I know there's no journalism in big media a lot of the time, but a little bit more than this. This is a joke. By the way, if you want an example of what clickbait is, go to examiner.com sometime. Check out the articles there and check out how many ads pop up and are stuck in there. Yeah, I did some writing for them years ago when I was getting things started and building some skills, but you want to see clickbait, that's a perfect example that's never ending. It's so many so-called articles a day, and most of them are very plagiarism-ish. But we go to the article at jewsnews.co.il. It's not news unless it's Jews news. Okay, very catchy. And you have the article with the same title, and you see an ad before you even read a single word of the so-called article. There, it's a free U.S. plus Israel unity pin. I think it's kind of funny that it shows two symbols in the pictures: a Christian cross and the so-called Dome of the Rock built over the Holy Temple. Whether that should even be there or not, that's another story that we're not going to get into here. But clickbaiting starts immediately. So we go on to the actual article. We see it's dated April 16th, 2015. Just kind of interesting that we would be receiving it now with a sense of urgency. That was 2 months and 1 week ago from when I'm recording this. Then there's a picture of Hillary, which is a curious choice because though this article purports to be about her and Israel and the Jews, it's a picture of her with American and Chinese flags. And the picture of Hillary itself is curious because she looks kind of confident, kind of leader-like. It's sort of an Evita pose, which, the comparisons of her with Evita, though obviously there's a huge age difference. Evita Peron died very young. And she actually looks like she could have been hot at a young age, which we certainly know is not the case. But let's go to this clickbait article and see the brilliant journalism that was so compelling that someone would send this to me 2 months later. It says, when it comes to foreign policy, it seems that neither Barack Obama nor Hillary Clinton have a clue what they're talking about. I don't know why they start with Obama, given that the article is about Hillary. It also should be neither Barack Obama nor Hillary Clinton, that's singular, has a clue what they're talking about. Pay attention, those of you who are taking SATs anytime soon. I guess we can go with talking about it's fine. It really should be about what they're talking, but the preposition at the end of a sentence is increasingly acceptable. Okay, going on to the second paragraph. We haven't seen a quote or anything yet. The former Secretary of State has been in the hot seat, cliche, for her involvement in the Benghazi scandal for almost a year now. Benghazi is a big deal, but I'm still not sure how it's relevant to this. And one would think, that's sort of a high school phrase there, you would think the writer has evolved since then. With that situation coming to a head, I don't know what's going on with Benghazi right now, why it's coming to a head. Wisdom would guide her to think carefully before she speaks. Again, we haven't even seen a quote from her. This is a nonsense sentence. As idiotic statements, idiotic is hyperbole, could damage her chances at the presidency in 2016. That's the second paragraph, a totally useless paragraph. Great writing so far. It seems that Clinton has ignored that common sense, which, by the way, should be hyphen, being used as an adjective, bit of wisdom, by slamming the nation of Israel in her latest memoir, Hard Choices, which should have a comma after it, and which should be italicized, by the way, where she calls, no, it should be in which she calls, the Jewish nation an occupying force in Palestine. We don't have a source for that, a page number or something, or a context, and that's not quite... Yeah, it's not pro-Israel, but it's not quite slamming the nation of Israel. We'll continue now. So the meat of this so-called article, Clinton recounts her time visiting the Middle East and being shocked at witnessing, hey, we have a quote here, quote, life under occupation for Palestinians, end quote, which could mean a lot of things, but that's not that big a deal. It's not that loaded a quote. Okay, occupation's somewhat of a term with a bias, but that quote itself isn't such a big deal. And we get to editorializing. This seems to indicate that Clinton, a supposed raging liberal, so they're using a supposed raging liberal. She's not a raging liberal? This is a pretty fiery article against Clinton, but you're using the weasel term supposed. A supposed raging liberal who lives, eats, and breathes racial equality, comma, has a bit of a bias against Israel. And by the way, there's a comma in between the T and S and eats. Great proofreading there, guys. According to Free Beacon, which is not italicized and may well have had a clickbaity article of its own, though it's probably a little better than jewsnews.co.il, the former First Lady writes, when we left the city and visited Jericho in the West Bank, I got my first glimpse of life under occupation for Palestinians who were denied the dignity and self-determination that Americans take for granted. Well, you know what? That's not the same as saying Israel denies dignity. The Palestinians, it's not saying who denied the dignity. It could be poverty, which isn't as bad as the media portrays it as in the Palestinian regions, the so-called Palestinian regions, or it could be Hamas denying their dignity. Everyone knows it's a dictatorship. Everyone knows some of the things they do to their own people. Not everyone, but a lot of us know. It goes on to say, it seems that Hillary Clinton shares President Obama's anti-colonialist ideology, which sees Israel as, quote, evil, end quote, since they're an, quote, occupying force, end quote. Again, no source for those quotes. Making Hamas a group of rebels fighting for the noble cause of freedom. And that last thing is just gratuitous. Bad writing. And then it goes on, a senior aide for a Republican senator, aide does not have an E after it, they just write it AID, stated that these comments should serve as a warning to Americans that if elected, Clinton will continue the failed foreign policy of Barack Obama, one that favors terrorists and hates Israel, in an effort to gain the full support of the left. So it doesn't have a quote, it doesn't say who the senior aide is, it doesn't say who the Republican senator is. I mean, what more do I really need to comment beyond that? Then it goes on to say it should be obvious, but Hillary Clinton is dead wrong on this one. Israel is not an occupying force. They are attempting to live peacefully and have endured hundreds of rockets. No, it's thousands being launched into the most heavily populated areas of their country. Actually, it's more the not as populated area of the country. So maybe it's been hundreds in terms of Tel Aviv, but thousands elsewhere without taking military action. Actually, no, Israel did take military action. Hello? Then, this is great. It says, for the entire article, click link. So basically it's saying, oh, we just lifted this from another article, from another clickbaity source. It's so lame. It's just so lame. So basically, all this text appeared somewhere else, and they changed a few words here and there, called an article. I mean, Someone's forwarding this? Someone's posting this crap? And here is the link from which that so-called article came from. It's from Conservative Tribune, which is in defense of Western civilization. Just from a few seconds of this, you know that if this is what's in defense of Western civilization is doomed. So it's using the quote, deny dignity. The whole title is Hillary Clinton attacks Israel, says they're conquerors who deny dignity. We saw earlier that if it's the same quote, it doesn't actually use the term deny dignity. It says something like it, but not that quote. And it gets the singular plural wrong. And just look at the ads in this clickbaity piece. We get South Walton, Florida. Nice piece, but I wouldn't want to see an ad for it. I don't know. Have I been to South Walton? I've been to Fort Walton Beach. I've been to Walton County. I don't even know what South Walton is. Maybe it's a new place. It's probably pretty pristine. Number one trick to avoid diabetic amputation and fight diabetes. Unique method. Regrows lost hair overnight. Do this before bed. Support Trump for 2016, which I'm considering. Tel Aviv round trip, $874. By the way, that's a pretty good deal. I don't know where it's from. It's probably from Turkey or something, but that's a really good deal. But then, the article. Yeah, sorry, it's easy to get distracted. And the words are the same as in the other thing that's basically plagiarizing this. And why anyone would want to plagiarize Conservative Tribune in defense of Western civilization is beyond me, because this sucks too. When it comes to foreign policy, it seems that neither Barack Obama nor Hillary Clinton have a clue. Word for word, same mistake still, blah, 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 hot seat, could damage our chances at the presidency. Complete plagiarism in the first two paragraphs. And the plagiarism by jewsnews.co.il over the very lame and certainly not worth plagiarizing Conservative Tribune continues, word for word, including even that comma between the T and S and E. It's not worth repeating, but you see very quickly after 3 paragraphs, you see remove your eye bags in under 2 minutes, number one trick to avoid diabetic amputation, and why Obama will not finish his second term. Sponsored by Rev Content. The point being, do not send me crap especially from jewsnews.co.il or what's this other one? Conservative Tribune in Defense of Western Civilization. Do not send me crap from there. Do not post it on Facebook, period. It's horrible. It's clickbait. But we're going to continue. So continuing, more plagiarism. It's the same articles as the one. This is the original. Basically, the next 3 paragraphs are the last 3 paragraphs of the jewsnews.co.il so-called article, but then there's a little bit more that was not. They left out the last 2 paragraphs. That's the difference between the jewsnews.co.il or in Conservative Tribune. That's why they said for full article, click here. It's just 2 more garbage paragraphs, and those are, there comes a time when enough is enough. That time has arrived for Israel, and they are doing what's necessary to survive. Just editorializing in a very lame, childish way. Then we get to the final paragraph, which was not included in the jewsnews.co.il piece. The last paragraph from Conservative Tribune, I guess it was left out so the articles would be a little different, some plausible deniability. It is, Clinton has proven that she only cares about furthering her careers. So, well, no, she cares about the cause of Marxism and anti-Semitism, some might argue. So she'll take whatever stance the liberal left champions in order to set herself up in good position to win the 2016 election. This is why conservatives must continue to oppose her and choose a candidate that can shut her down in the polls, preventing her from ending up in the White House. I don't know what that means. It doesn't say in the article who that candidate is. And it has, well, this is consistent. It has a clickbaity ad to go with this awful clickbaity so-called article. And it says, why was this video banned? Watch this controversial video before it disappears again. I didn't click on it, so I don't know what it is, nor am I going to fall for that. Then it says, please share this article on Facebook and Twitter if you disagree with Hillary Clinton, and place your full support behind the nation of Israel and their right to defend themselves. I'd like to think no Jewish Israel supporters will fall for that garbage, but I know they will. I think a little bit more in terms of Christians, no offense. Christian supporters of Israel would fall for that. Then it has a convenient share on Facebook link, which I certainly hope you didn't read all the way to get to this point, but maybe you got to that point. And the article is dated, interestingly, Wednesday, July 23rd, 2014. which is exactly 1 year ago today, which makes you wonder why jewsnews.co.il waited 10 months to make a clickbaity plagiarism of this so-called article. I don't get it. So, first of all, by the way, they did lose last night, even though Aaron Nola had a spectacular debut. Only gave up 1 run, but they're 4-1 since the All-Star break, despite being the worst team in baseball. Sorry, I had to put that up there. But in summary here, avoid the conservative clickbait. I don't like those of you who do it. It doesn't help our cause. And I know you're trying to make a few shekels there or whatever. Yeah, no, it's not really an anti-Jewish slur. I'm Jewish, obviously. But don't do it. It hurts our cause. It's annoying as hell. And do not, if you're not even making money off this, I kind of understand the people who are trying to make a living off of this, but don't forward me crap from jewsnews.co.il or from Conservative Tribune in defense of Western civilization. Okay? Everyone, please just read the articles you forward and recognize what is garbage. Thank you. And if if you're a liberal, yeah, send all the garbage you want and waste each other's time. That's fine with me.